Time's up, Admiral.
Here it comes.
Howdy, all. I am Adam, the Renaissance nerd, joined by Jed, the Hollywood scholar, to talk Willow 2022 tonight. And I want to just, some of you may know, kept up to date with the comment section, community board. I am operating at like below normal capacity here. My computer had an issue today, and I have got it off to be fixed. I sorted it out rather quickly, efficiently I can, but I am operating on a borrowed laptop. Yes, it's my normal camera, but my microphone, the way I've got it set up and done, I can't get it over here, and that's why we're on the boom mics. I apologize if my audio is not the normal that it is, and I apologize if lots of time I'm going to be looking down here because that's where the chat is and that's where Jed is, so I can look at him on the screen. So I apologize for my shabby display at the moment, but the show must go on, and we are here to talk Willow 2022. Jed, happy birthday to you, young man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I can't imagine a better way to spend my birthday than with this show.
And me,
I got good company.
Sitting here talking on this show, but we got chat with us too. How you guys, chat? How you doing? Hail and howdy, you guys. Thank you guys for showing up. I see La Goddess and Tranquil Waters, my mods, my regulars. I see Anime Man, everything. My co-host on Anime Odyssey, and we do have the show picked. I will announce it tomorrow. I was going to do it today, but I didn't have time today. My day's been effed up all day long. Going down, I see Jaden Hamilton. Good evening to you, young sir. Going on down some more. Arak Marv, Aurelian, hello to you. Hello, Joseph's Dread. Hello to, let's see, scrolling all the way down. I saw Dermy. Hey, Dermy, how you doing? And we reached the bottom. And if you're watching and not chatting, I'm happy to have you here. It's a busy, busy night in our little sphere. Hail to you, Abkun17. Thank you very much for being here as well. Again, if you guys are watching and not chatting, we're just happy to have you here hanging out with us as we will wade through this. And if you're watching on the replay or the re-upload, because I'll be re-uploading this tomorrow, because I have my capabilities of making videos is a little sketchy right now. So I'll take what I can get to put something up there to feed the beast of the algorithm. And anyway, so Willow 2022, the sequel none of us asked for to our beloved little cult classic. 2 weeks ago, we reviewed the original movie, Jed, myself, and Lady Balefire. We reviewed it to prepare ourselves for this. And Jed, I think I think we can share the opinion that the buffering was not quite enough.
No.
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 No. All right, guys. So what we're going to do, we're going to talk about it without spoilers for the first bit here. And then we will talk spoilers for those who maybe want to brave it on their own. And then by the end, Jed and I will decide how we're going to proceed with Willow 2022. So, Jed, as the birthday boy, why don't you start us off with what is the premise going on in this show right now? I mean, how much time has passed? It's maybe been 20 years.
Maybe they act like the main characters are teenagers, but they seem a lot older. Like the actors are older, which is nothing new, but it's kind of hard to pin down their age because they don't give it to us.
Well, here's the thing. Sorsha and Mad Mardigan's twins were clearly born a minimum a year or two later after the events of the movie.
Yeah, because they're the same age as the servant girl.
As Servant Girl, but Servant Girl, it has to be a little bit older for what are going to be obvious reasons when we get to the spoilers section. But we were talking about this before we got started.
Yeah.
What we have here, and we mentioned this a couple weeks ago when we were talking about the movie, the world of Willow was if you're going by just moving on, because I see again, guys, sorry, I have to lean forward to see the chat here because it's on this tiny ass little monitor. Speedy, the film was continued in 3 books. I never knew that there were books for that.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that, but I only ever knew I played the video game, the NES game, which had some lore added in. We talked about that last weekend or a couple weeks ago, and I wasn't sure if that lore was applicable to the world. But you going on just the movie, which is all we can do right now, because as I said, never knew there were books. It's a fragile lore to begin with, right?
Right.
It's just there's not much to work with. And one of the things we get at least I came away from, and I just watched this a couple hours ago. I'm fresh off it. They started adding lore that has no meaning. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah. Most of the lore that they added doesn't really connect to anything in a logical fashion, and it's just there for lore's sake. And that's not necessarily something you want to do always.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you obviously want a 3-dimensional world, but not at the stake of the story feeling cohesive. Like, you don't want to randomly stop a conversation and list 20 countries that are in a general vicinity. They come up naturally. You see a map, great. We need that lore eventually, but you don't want to just derail the plot for the sake of world building. So it's a delicate balance, and I think this show failed that balance at every single opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, we're not on the spoiler section yet, but there's a term getting thrown around of an ancient ancestral race.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, cleaning my glasses. And that term's getting thrown around, and I'm sitting there going, okay, that's obviously meaningful considering certain spoiler thing we're going to talk about in a little bit. But it's a word that I'm having a little trouble saying it. I'm having a little trouble remembering it. You're throwing a lot of lore at me that, again, you're trying to build out this already flimsy lore world, and I'm trying to put the pieces together, and you're not giving me time to digest what you're giving me.
Right. And I think that's not supported, or at least not helped, by the fact that the plot is very non-existent. So the world building is derailing the almost non-existent plot. So those two factors together is incredibly damaging to it, because it's a simple story. I mean, questing, like, it should be as easy as it gets. A group of heroes go on a quest. It should be really simple, but they make it far too simple, even with that limited premise. And somehow the lore building distracts you from that non-entity.
Now, again, when we get into the spoilers, I'll be more specific. But somewhere in all of this, as we start this story, where Saoirse and Memoria's twins, they're of age, and her daughter Kit is going to be married off to the Prince of Galandor to cement the land until Allura Dannon can be found. Because this is not spoiler, because the first thing you find out is that Allura Dannon has been hidden away. She's been hidden away to be protected from the oncoming evil until she can be there to unite the realm as Empress. Now, they changed terminology in the movie. She's queen. Now she's Empress. It's just it's loose terms, but so that's where the movie begins, or the show begins. Well, basically, I did watch the movie today. It was 2 hours, so I basically watched the movie today. I watched the movie. I basically watched the movie. But that's where it starts. And like you said, but as we are off to the races by the middle of the first episode, I see somewhere in there a quality story. Do you agree with me? There are pieces in there that, if handled well and put together, I could see where it could be something good.
I agree to the degree that there are cliches in there that have been used in a good fashion by other more talented writers. And the fact that they include cliches, I don't think is necessarily something that we should praise them for, but those cliches can do well in other properties. So I don't know if I would agree that there's a good story hidden in there to the same degree that you would.
I see elements. Let me phrase it. I see elements that, if by a better writer, now apparently John Kasdan cannot write for shit.
No, God.
John Kasdan cannot write for shit.
While we were talking about the world building, there's one specific line that had such horrible exposition for world building's sake that had me rolling my eyes. And you've already mentioned it, so it's not a spoiler. Is that the announcement that Kit is going to marry the prince. In that announcement that Sorsha makes, she describes their entire relationship going back 20 years. It's like, Ganon, Galador and us, we fought together to get rid of my mother, and then we decided that we were going to be like one realm, but like a subservient kingdom to their crown, but we're independent. And she like described their entire political structure going back since the first movie. And it was
200 moons.
200 moons. And it was just so clunky. It was so unnecessary. Just say, hey, our allies, we want to strengthen ourselves. Classic fantasy and medieval thing that actually happened. Great, just go with that. You don't need to explain, hey, we're like a vassal state to this other one because but we shouldn't be because we're the original ones and we're separated. It was just such really bad world building and terrible exposition that derailed from the public revelation of the princess's coming marriage the next day.
And so it's you have that as the framework of the beginning of the story, and we get introduced to Kit, and I don't know Freckle Jesus' character's name, so we're just going to call her Freckle Jesus because that's how everybody knows her. We get introduced to them right away, and we already knew from the trailers they were going to be gay together. And I don't have a problem with that because they're original characters. They can be gay all they want. And I will admit, in this first 2 episodes, they didn't beat us over the head with it. I didn't feel like they were beating us over the head with it, even though apparently I missed it today because I was busy. There was an article on Bounding into Comics from John Kasdan, him preaching about the gayness of it all.
Yep.
Now,
and among other things.
Yeah, so in these first 2 episodes, I didn't feel like I was getting beat over the head with it. Am I an outlier on this?
No, I agree that it wasn't the forefront of the story as he said it was going to be. There were moments, and I think my bigger issue were with their characters rather than their relationship. Because, like you mentioned in the pre-show, Freckle Jesus did call out the princess several times.
Call out constantly. It's like, stop being a dumb bitch. Kit, the character Kit, insufferable bitch.
She is incredible.
Of like Galadriel warrior princess levels, insufferable bitch. But with one, I will say, at least she gets put in her place constantly. Nobody just rolls over and says, "Oh, okay." No, they say basically, "Shut up." A lot of people tell her to shut up. So I give them
a lot of that going around. Like Sorsha yells at her son at one point.
When she yelled at them after the disastrous banquet, I was like, "Whoa!"
She can yell at the daughter all she wants after that display, but the son was just trying to fix
Why
things.
Cut down Eric? And I do appreciate having him be named Eric after Eric from the movie.
I did like that.
I like that. I'm okay with that.
He's just like, hey, I talked to the prince. It's all going to be okay. I tried to iron out the situation, and he was doing a good job. He had a good plan. And she's like, why are you sticking your nose into things? And he's like, he just fixed the situation that his sister made.
Yeah, I mean, you called him a bit of a soy cuck in the pregame.
Did you see that fucking V-neck the dude?
Okay, he's
like walking around like
the whole costuming's bad, but dude, apparently he's a ladies' man. He gets around, and you can't be a soy cuck if you're getting around, getting busy, and have a reputation for breaking hearts.
I wouldn't call him a cuck, but the thing that I describe this entire show as is Gen Z to the ultimate. The people were dressed like Gen Zers. The hairstyles were very Gen Z.
The costuming is bad. The hair is bad. Everything's bad.
And
but
Eric is the cliche Gen Z attractive man. Like he's everything that is like how in your day Schwarzenegger and Stallone were like the peak attractive man. He's the peak Gen Z attractive man.
That's terrible.
So Gen Z, and that drives me crazy. Even speaking from a Gen Z perspective, I fucking hate it.
But I like I said, I give it credit for the moments he was there, because once he's gone after episode 1, he's gone. And which again, I'll criticize that when we get to episode 2. I say at least he's a playboy, to quote Mustang there. He's a playboy. At least he gets around. He's at least behaving like a man in that sense. And he didn't run away from the battle in episode 1. He grabbed the sword. Now, we didn't get to see him do anything because he encountered a monster that was way out of his league. But
that whole fight didn't make sense. Like, what was the point of the fog? How did everyone simultaneously knew? I get how Sorsha and the princess and her girlfriend knew that the attack was coming. But
they were
the whole castle's awake, and there hasn't been any big noise yet. Like, the fighting hadn't started yet, and the prince is like, I'm grabbing my sword. I'm going out to fight. and the woman with
Well,
him was like, "Oh yeah, don't die, honey." And it's like, how do you know there's it's fog from his perspective? It's a foggy night.
now I had a glimmer of hope in that moment because he took down the sword, which was reminiscent of one of Mad Mardigan's swords, because he went through a couple in the first movie, and he was doing the little flourishing, the Mad Mardigan. I'm like, okay, maybe he's gonna get out there and do some stuff. And no, he didn't so much get their ass kicked. Let's be honest. In that first battle, in the fog battle, everybody got their ass kicked.
Which is why I wouldn't probably send the same people who got their ass kicked by these the monsters to go out and hunt the monsters.
Except Borin. Borin,
Yeah.
he came in and he started to own shit. Again, out of all the characters, and we both agreed, Borin held our interest
the most. His comedy was not working for me. He made me cringe a lot, but he definitely had the most.
But he had charisma. He had charisma. And clearly from that first moment they let him out. I really like that sequence where they let him out. They're taking off the chains, like, boys, get me my cleaver. And he goes out there and he saves Freckle Jesus, and he's competently fighting Birdcage Man. Yeah. And he's competently kicking his ass. Like, okay, this dude's gonna be he may be a bit of comic relief, and everybody may yell at him, but he is gonna be the backbone of fighting. I can see
even
that.
When he was defending the servant girl, she yelled at him too. It's like, yeah, let's keep the servant girl around. Shut up! It's like, he was just defending you.
A lot of shouting across people in this, and that's just bad dialogue. That's bad dialogue.
Immature people.
Very immature people.
They should not be sent on this quest because of experience, maturity, everything.
What I love. Sorry.
Oh, the only person qualified is who we're talking about, the guy from the dungeon, and take some knights with him. Everybody else got their asses soundly kicked by the same monsters that they're hunting. Don't send people who got their asses kicked by monsters to go hunt the same monsters. That's like questing 101.
What we're talking about here is what happens, and again, this is not major spoilers because this is the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes of an hour-long episode, basically, first 20 minutes, where it's after this disastrous pre-wedding banquet, because they're supposed to have a wedding the next day. You see these four creatures, these four figures out in the distance, and they summon a magical fog. And as Bitch on Wheels Kit, Unsufferable Bitch Kit, is trying to get out of there because she's all angry. She doesn't want to be controlled in her life. She's so insufferable. It's like, bitch, do your fucking duty.
Your story she told.
It's so bad. It's a political marriage, and she's upset because her girlfriend's about to leave too. But her girlfriend's again, Freckle Jesus, named Jade. We're called Freckle Jesus. Freckle Jesus. She's the other character I like because while the actress is not a good actress, Jed's commentary earlier said to me, she's flat, she doesn't deliver well, but the character is actually good because she understands duty, she understands respect, and she knows, and she tells Insufferable Bitch Kit to yo do your damn job, stop being a bitch.
It sucks, but a block of wood was one of the best characters in the show. That's bad. Besides, of course, bad. Willow. Warwick Davis is, of course. Warwick
Davis. I mean, and while she's on screen, Joanne Whalley-Kilmer also doing a fine job because she's a veteran actress, working the best of what she has. Yeah. But it's just okay. Go ahead.
Well, no, mine's a little bit of a segue, so you finish.
Okay. But it's just you have. What happens is during the fight, everybody's fighting in the fog, getting their ass kicked, except for Borwin. Or is it Borwin or Borin?
It sounded like Boromir every time. I was thinking about Sean Bean the whole time.
And aside from him everybody else got their ass kicked, but during the part of that, Eric gets kidnapped. He gets taken for reasons don't know.
The editing was so bad.
Yeah, all right, we'll talk about that.
I could barely tell that he got kidnapped.
One of the problems this show definitely has is the camera work. There is a really they jump cut in the action scenes. Jump, shaky cam, jump, shaky cam. You cannot see the action.
And they cut too soon from things.
Yeah.
Like, you can't show a close-up of someone drawing a throwing dagger and then the target getting hit by the dagger. You have to show the throw of the dagger. You cut that out in a single moment.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of instances like that. Like they cut out the servant jumping over the chasm. That angle is just
yeah. It's like you know she did it, and you saw her just make it, and then she climbs out. But what happens then is other times they're cutting away because at moments when I could catch it, especially in the opening scene where Kit and Jade are fencing, they're just swinging to hit their swords.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
it was so obvious, but even though the camera kept jumping away, I still saw it, and right away I knew, okay, we're not going to get good choreography in this. It's going to be all over the place. But so suddenly now the initial quest, rescue Eric from an entity known as the Crone, who will
Who's
somehow
bigger and badder than Bad Morta and was the one who she was prophesied to take down the whole time.
will
Bad
somehow
Morta's
lead
never
to the
was a
spirit
prophecy
of Bav Morta coming back. It's a little nebulous. It's like, what are we doing? I don't know. And so now we put together a hodgepodge group, and what happens is the the leader that they put in charge, who you knew was going to get old man gets put in charge. Yeah, he could get ganked. It's just a matter of when.
It was just
Just
as
a
soon as he started
matter of
talking, I'm like, oh,
yeah.
this is when he dies.
Yeah, no, like wow, you're about to die.
And he was a nice guy. Like
He was competent. He was competent.
He was competent. He was defending the prince. He was a cool guy.
Yeah.
It sucks that I'm saying that about the one straight white man who's not a Gen Z soy boy in the entire thing. That's the one guy I'm praising, but that's how it happens.
So he gets aced.
And no one mourns him. No one gives a shit.
Just let's get out of here. Let's run. Let's get out of here.
Making jokes about it while they ride.
I know.
They're cracking jokes. It's like, oh, our friend just died. We're running away. Let's crack some
and
jokes.
Then that battle on the horse seat, that chase fight scene, they're all just kind of leaning away to dodge arrows, so the arrows will hit other guys, and it's just, no, why are you doing this?
They cut out the shooting so you can't tell that it's really bad.
And Borwin is joking with a guy who's like, I thought you were dead. Nah, I'm alive. No, it's not me. Not me. And for a second, I think you might get a good little fight there, but no. And then that scene ends with them jumping over a cliff into water, and the horse is swimming. It's like, that looks a lot farther a drop than it should be. I don't know. And if it sounds like we're moving through it quickly, this is what's happened already. That's kind of aside from some really bad dialogue interchanges between everybody.
Like,
about
till the day, that's their big chant. The kingdom's chant is till the day. It's so bad.
It's basically till the day till the Lord Danon comes back. Yeah. And
we've kind of moved past it, but they mentioned it in the chat already. But we need to talk about Val in that prologue, especially.
All right, let's talk about Mad Mardigan. Mad Mardigan, for obvious real world reasons, Val Kilmer is not here, and because of the Coof, they couldn't get him to come out to Wales. So right. Hey, they rewrote the story. Apparently they had written it with him in it originally, so they rewrote it without him in there. And according to, all right, so there's more disservice done to Mad Mardigan, and I missed a couple of them. Jed pointed out a couple that I missed, so I wasn't as harsh on it as I am now because Jed pointed out a couple of things. I thought I heard it the way I heard it. Jed heard it a different way, and we went over it, and so I think I misheard the exchange. But Mad Mardigan isn't there. And they open the entire thing with Saoirse doing a monologue about how after describing Mad Mardigan as just a thief and a rogue and a this and a that, and it's just, why are you dumping on him?
Well, no, she insults him like for 3 whole sentences, and then goes, "What are you gonna do? I was young and stupid," and saying like. It's not just like if they at first when she started saying that, I'm like, all right, they're going to bring it back. That's who he is at the beginning of the movie. He's like, but then we got to know each other and he changed. Willow changed him and he's not that man anymore. I'm like, all right, yes, he was very much that manipulative thief at the beginning. All right, that's a good setup for the character arc that he went through in the first movie. Instead, they're just like, oh yeah, he was always just a bastard. He didn't even grow in the first movie. You thought you saw him grow? He just had a big dick. I was young. I wanted a big dick.
Now I
Oh.
think now we'll get to the whole thing. I don't think with the revelation in episode 2, I'm not so sure. I'm going to call him a bad dad with his reason for not being there.
Well, and then, the
And
Sorsha shouldn't have just
yeah,
not told anyone the reason why he left. If he left for a good reason, say he left for a good reason and never returned, instead of saying like letting her children believe that he just decided to abandon them.
that's more her being a bad mom.
Yeah, that's more. But yeah, like they make it a bad dad. They degrade him at every possible opportunity. Even Sorsha is okay with them saying stuff bad about him. And then her conversation in the dungeon with the Borman is the one that really pissed me off, where he's like, the Borman's like, hey, you know everything about being in a loveless marriage. And she's like, I did what I had to do, which doesn't make any sense because she didn't have to marry Mad Mardigan. There was no political or social benefits for marrying Mad Mardigan. He brought nothing to the table for her. There was no political reason to marry him. In the movie, it implies it was for love. That was the only justifiable reason. But now they're twisting it to saying, oh, yeah, it was a loveless marriage and because he was a bastard and a thief and never changed. But she did it for political reasons, but there weren't any political reasons. And she's the one who brought up the political reasons, not somebody else assuming political reasons. And so it just felt like they took every time Val was brought up, every time Mad Mardigan was brought up, they were bashing on him, except for Borman. Borman's the only one who spoke about Mad Mardigan with any sort of respect or love. Everyone else was like,
because I mean,
suck.
we could
Even
say
Willow didn't have any good words to say about him.
Well, Willow did say in the flashback in the beginning of episode 2, even if he's dead, it's only going to delay him coming back for you a little bit. He'll come back. Well, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think this is 2 different writers and no one communicating because John Kasdan wrote episode 1 and some other dude wrote episode 2, and that's John Kasdan. Then you get to that open part, that first part in episode 2, where you get the flashback of. Basically, it's only been like 3 or 4 years post the end of the movie, and Willow's coming back. And we're going to start getting into spoiler territory now, guys. We have to if we're going to make sense of this discussion.
God, I hated those flashbacks.
Well, the de-aging looked a little weird.
Yeah.
But he comes. Willow is returned in the beginning of the second episode, and when they're talking about, we get the reveal there. Where is Mad Mardigan? And apparently, let's reveal it because now it'll make sense completely. We've mentioned her a couple times. Okay, guys, spoilers now. Official spoilers begin because in order to efficiently discuss this further, we have to go to the big reveal. And now, I saw this coming about at the 35, 40-minute mark of episode 1 when servant girl, there's basically a giant barrier was erected around Galandor and Tirazleen to keep out nasty shit by Rizal and Shalindria, who have died off camera in the intervening years. They're gone.
I get Rizal, but not Shalindria.
She's like a fairy. That doesn't make any sense. Fairy queen. Yeah, fairy queen. That doesn't make any sense. But so now this barrier, no one can touch it. No one can go through it. But servant girl, who we've mentioned now, pretty little thing, touches it and parts it with her hands and walks right through it. It's like, okay, you've just told me who this really is. Because as we said, Laura Dannon was hidden from the world. Her own memories repressed, this and that. And now, boom, servant girl turns out to be a Laura Dannon. And when that happened, I said, coming. And I'm just glad it wasn't Freckle Jesus. That's what I was like, okay, I'm just glad it wasn't Freckle Jesus. Because that really would have hit home. Because she's a redhead. I'm like, no.
But was improvement. But yeah, that reveal was a little pathetic. And I don't like the actress. She's attractive enough, but she doesn't have very good.
No. Well, she's suffering the same problem most of these people. She's talking in modern day vernacular.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the dialogue is
phenomenal.
Phenomenal. You don't want a fantasy person to go, that's weird, huh?
Phenomenal. Or I'm good. No, you're not good. No. So one of the biggest problems is the dialogue. They're speaking a 21st century vernacular, and it's
so Gen Z.
It's bad. So anyway, Willow reveals at the end of episode 1 that she's Laura Dannon because he takes off her sleeve and does a spell that reveals her birthmark, which signifies it. And now it's not only rescue Eric, but protect Laura Dannon, train her up so she can defeat the Crone and the Crone's master, because that's her destiny. But when we go to the beginning of episode 2, we get a flashback of Willow visiting Sorsha. Now, Mad Mardigan's not there already, and we learn that it had been a while since Mad Mardigan, both of them were afraid for Laura Dannon because they felt like she was their own daughter too, and they didn't want her to have to fight whatever evils were coming. So Mad Mardigan decided to go on a quest to find this Curus based upon the bloodline of Laura Dannon, this bloodline they've created for the show. Going back, talking about how this lore is really hard to get a grip on because they're just kind of pulling it out of their ass without any foundation to build on. So it's really flimsy. But he went off to find this Curus, which should have enough power to tip the scales. So Mad Mardigan wasn't a bad dad. By episode 2, he's not a bad dad. He went off the quest. Thing is, he didn't come back, and we learned that Borwin was the squire that went with him, and he says at one point, yeah, he found it, but we haven't learned what happened to him since he found it. So that's why I'm saying in episode 1, they're shitting all over him, but then suddenly in episode 2, we're getting positive stuff from Mad Mardigan. So I feel like this is a disconnect between people writing the episodes. At least that
could be, but it's still enough of a character perspective deal. Like Sorsha's perspective is very anti-Mad Mardigan, and that feels very much the writers. Even though Borman's is pro him in the second episode, I feel like it's still anti-Mad Mardigan, even with that deal. Like Borman, they're gonna have some way that Borman was a child, he was a squire, he just was enamored by the Mad Mardigan skill and just justify away the positive things he said. Just the way that Sorsha, the one person who should be defending him more than anyone besides Willow, is the one who's shitting on him the most.
But during that scene, he's like, she's clearly worried he's gone. Says he might be dead, and Willow goes, "Oh, death wouldn't keep him from you. Well, it might just delay him a little bit, but he'll get back to you."
That was Willow though, not Sorsha.
Yeah, but I mean, she was clearly worried. She was still in love with him at that point, I think. I mean, that's why I think that it disputes the line of her being in a loveless marriage. That's why I feel like it's two writers writing two different things, and it's that at least that was my take on that. That was my takeaway from that.
But with that flashback, the bigger problem is the portrayal of Willow in it.
Yeah,
like there was another instance of Sorsha yelling at a man who was being competent. Like the son was being competent and being intelligent, so was Willow trying to be. She's planning on banning magic in the entire realm, and he's like, no, magic's the best defense we have against magic. It's kind of obvious. Magic, magic, only way to do things. And so she yells at him and said, "You're not a great sorcerer. You will never be a great sorcerer."
Yeah, it's like, why do that? Why do that? She's like, did you use your disappearing pig trick again? It's like, why? Why did you do that? Why?
And then they double down with that after he speaks to Elora. And he's like, "What do you think you were gonna do? Kidnap her, and I'd be all right with that?"
Well, the creeper hit. They made him a creeper doing that too. He was a creeper.
And then he runs away yelling like, "I don't care what happens to you, and I don't care what happens to this to Elora." It's like that's not Willow. Willow would never run away screaming in a tantrum.
And then he woke up saying, "Yeah, I made bad decisions." It's just the whole thing. He's not a
tantrumer.
I know. It's just it's as though. Once again, you have people writing this that don't understand the original story. Again, apparently Ron Howard was executive producing this.
I saw that.
But is he consulting on it? But then again, he didn't write it; he just directed it. No George. This you're feeling the missing. You're feeling the character depth that a George Lucas brings to these type of things.
Well, and speaking of the original, I think that's probably, besides the Mad Mardigan stuff, its biggest sin is it takes every opportunity to undo the ending of the original Willow movie. We knew they were going to undo it to a certain extent.
Yeah.
We knew the Happily Ever After wasn't going to last 20 years, but they make it immediately the Happy Ever After is over.
let's take away Laura Dannon's future and make her a serving girl. Just to hide her and protect her.
Girl, take away her magic. It's literally like they say it's as soon as Willow gets home. So as the movie ends, he goes to bed that night and has a dream, and everything's shit again. And it was never
Yeah.
about Bad Morta. It was always about the crone. And
Or
Destiny's
who the crone serves. Apparently, the crone is serving a greater power. I think I caught that somewhere in episode 2.
something like that. But yeah, they undo the happily ever after right away. Just give Mad Mardigan, Sorsha, and Alora 5-10 years of happily ever after as a royal family. That's all I'm asking. Not one day. They gave them 1 day of the happily ever after that the movie implies.
Essentially. I mean, now the whole thing was. I mean, again, we're in episode 2 now. Now it's the plot is go past the borders of the known world, the Shattered Sea, and rescue Eric and make sure Alora can defeat the crone and everything else. Because
and
Willow,
they send the most incompetent people to do it possible.
Yeah.
Besides Willow and
because they've depowered Willow. It's at this point we haven't seen Willow do anything. In possible future episodes, he may actually break out some shit. But right now, they're portraying Willow as incompetent. That whole High Aldwyn scene in underground Nelwyn Village. I mean, it's
Just
supposed to be
a
comedy,
idiot.
but it's like, why are we doing this? Why are you forcing this? This is not funny.
I don't know if you caught it. Was there any time that he actually used magic besides
No.
revealing Alora's
No.
mark?
That's what I'm saying. He hasn't actually used.
Yeah, that was the one
any
time
magic.
he used magic.
And so we're supposed to keep him believing that he is not this. Now in the trailer, we've seen him shoot fire. We've seen him make his staff glow. Like he can still. But I feel it's a massive disservice not having him be a complete badass.
He should be at this point because he was inexperienced in the first movie, but he had potential. Like he used
he's a quick
Lindri's
learner.
wand.
Yeah, he's
Like,
a quick learner.
He's saying that's already too much for Alora, but he did it on his first day, so he's competent. He has a future that in the last 20 years he should have been a badass by now.
Yeah, and there's some, like I said, there that at least I want to talk about some of the good MLC in it since you brought up Alora and Willow. There are some. That's one of those elements that's really good because Alora is not instant Mary Sue, even though she has every right to be the real heroine of this because she's Alora freaking Dannon.
Mm-hmm.
And
She's a non-entity more.
But
than
it's like
Mary Sue.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm trying to say that she's struggling here in the beginning, and she's trying to work it. But I like, again, this goes back to my elements that I see. I like the Alora Willow relationship becoming a new relationship. I can see where it starts off well, and it could go somewhere if it was handled correctly. If not for that whole magic chant shtick where they drew that out for the mispronunciation, like, no, you're drawing it out too long. Stop. It's okay. I like it that she's struggling. I like it. It was a joke at first, but now you're drawing it out too much. Oh, let's add in Kit being a bitch some more. Let's add in Jade telling her stop being a bitch. Oh, let's have some boring comedy. Non-existent soy boy Prince trying to be something what is up with him? He's just, you can see he's there to be a friend. And
he
not
knows
to mention
other languages. That's the only thing he brings.
He's there to be smart guy. He's there to be the nerd. He's there to be the nerd. He's there to be the nerd. But they haven't given him enough to work with. And also that actor, it's the dude who played Flash Thompson in the Spider-Man movies. Oof, why him? Why him?
None of the kids really have more than one facial expression, and he's the worst offender of it. Just having that one expression.
Deer in the headlights. That's the way I look at it. All the young actors are not good, but I will say this. I mentioned it in the pregame too. At least we got pretty people. We finally got pretty people. Unlike all these other shows we've been watching, from Wheel of Time to Rings of Power to Halo, ugly people galore. At least we got pretty people. I'll give them that. These are attractive people. They're easy on the eyes.
A little too much so in a modern sense. That's my
because they're too clean. They're too clean.
They're way too clean.
Their clothes are too clean. They don't need to shave. Their hair is perfectly groomed.
While you're talking about positive elements, there's only
Yeah.
one thing that I thought was almost okay. Everything I'm much harder on this than it sounds like you are, but the one thing that I thought, all right, there's
Mhm.
something here, there's potential here, was there's a scene between Willow and his daughter
Mhm.
Mims in some sort of arboretum or something, while he's
Yeah.
talking about his responsibilities to Laura and his vision of Laura. And that moment, he's being a good dad, and she's like, she obviously adores him. It was a good dad moment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I agree with
some of
you on
the
that
acting
one.
was a little off. Some of the
Yeah.
acting was a little off, but I saw that was the moment where I'm like, all right,
There
there's
are,
something here. There's a relationship here that I can get behind.
and there are also faint good dad moments all over the place in this. And you see they're trying to put in, somebody at least thought, hey, let's have good dads. Let's not shit all over dads. It's, again, there are elements there that have handled by more competent writers and competent directors that they could build on it, but they do it and then it falls apart very quickly. And so it's, like I said, there's elements, and I again, Willow, good dad to his actor's daughter, and a building of a good dad relationship with a Laura Dannon. It's like, oh, good dad relationship starting here, and she's welcome to it. She's happy. She's not yelling at him. I mean, Laura is treating Willow with some respect. She's not bitching at him. She's frustrated,
Yeah.
and she doesn't want to feel useless, and she's overwhelmed that she's the empress to be. But then of course after you have a good scene where she's talking about being overwhelmed with with Soy Prince, then
You thought that was a
the
good scene?
no, it was starting off as a good scene
Uh,
where she's talking about, I feel overwhelmed, I feel this, and I know this, but you're excellent. No, no, we don't need affirmation. You didn't need to affirm her. You just had to say, I believe in you. That would have been fine. You're just keep trying. No, not you're awesome. You're excellent. It's just there have been other affirmation moments in this, but that was the most egregious. Where he actually said, "You're out." What was it? It's either you're excellent or you're amazing or something like that. He actually says
phenomenal.
No, she said phenomenal.
Well, I
What
think
was
he
her
was
word?
quoting her.
Oh,
She said she was phenomenal, and
yeah.
so I think he was going phenomenal. I think they were continuing that joke.
Either way, he just blasts it out, and it's like, oh, and she's like, huh? But it's like right there, it was a good scene where she's actually being real and saying,
She's vulnerable.
yeah,
That's
and
a big thing that makes her not a Mary Sue. She does have moments of vulnerability.
yeah,
But yeah. So like I would not call Laura Den a Mary Sue.
no,
I wouldn't really call Kate is just insufferable. I wouldn't call her a Mary Sue either.
and she's definitely not Mary Sue because she's not competent. She got her ass kicked.
Yeah. No,
And
I don't see any Mary Sues. I just see a bunch
no,
of terrible characters.
yeah, and that's a problem. These are all 80% are unlikable. Borwin and Jade. I actually like Jade because she's not a bitch, and she's actually she's competent in her attitude. Her attitude is competent, and Borwin is competent. And Willow is. I still like Willow because he's
Warwick
like,
Davies. He tried.
yeah, and he's trying. And also, it's like Willow got done dirty because he said, I predicted this. All he had to do was follow what I said, and Willow just got railroaded in terms of the story and what they did to him. It's like, oh, okay. And now he just wants to hurry up and teach Laura Dannon so he can protect her because his real vision is her dead, and they win with her. The only way they win is with her death. So everything he's been trying to do is to change the future of her death. But for these 20 plus years, every time he has his nightmare, she's always dead at the end of the battle.
Right.
And it's all been done. So they win, but they win with her death, and he wants to avoid her ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah. Well, with Willow, yeah, you're spot on with the Willow stuff. For the Jade stuff, I think the bigger problem with her, besides her wooden acting, is they have such a hyper emphasis on her being like the first woman soldier. The first
again,
that's
the more affirmation shit. Yeah.
Right, which is nonsense because in the first movie, Sorsha was like second in command of the army after Kale.
Mm-hmm.
She was a badass knight warrior, like one of the greatest warriors in the realm, like probably the third best sword fighter in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was already competent female warriors 20 years before this. So why is it such a big deal that this one is allowed?
Because it's Galandor, and I guess they have patriarchy. I don't know. I don't
So
know.
you're saying that the Bad Morta was more identity politics progressive than Galadorn was?
I guess I don't know. They leave
It,
it.
it, they
They
just
don't
emphasize
explain a lot.
like nearly
Yeah.
every scene that Jade's in it, she's always says, "Oh, you don't care what I want. I want to be a knight. I'm the first one ever." It's just everything out of her mouth was modern English about why she's the first ever, and it's like,
I'm
but
not
you're
gonna.
not.
I'm not.
Sorsha exists.
I'm not taking that away. I'm not taking that. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. I just think though her character is not obnoxious when you
Yeah,
put her up as
she's
a
the least
kid.
insufferable.
Yeah, Kit from the moment we meet her is just me, me, me. Everybody, shut up! I don't want my nice privileged life. I want to go on adventure. And I'm gonna be a fucking Karen to everybody. And then I'm going to embarrass my brother. I'm going to talk down to my brother. I'm going to talk down to my mother. I'm going to bitch about this, bitch about that. I'm going to be insufferable. And the only redeeming fact is the fact that everybody says, shut up, bitch. Basically, everybody says, shut up
She's
from her.
so insufferable.
Yeah. So I unless she has a
Like,
come to Jesus moment, which I don't know how they could possibly do
yeah.
it.
That's my bigger problem with their relationship isn't the fact that it's a lesbian one, is I don't get the chemistry, and I don't get why Jade would like this insufferable bitch.
Yeah.
That's the bigger problem here.
Again, that's again bad writing. Thinking, oh, if they're in a gay relationship, it's automatically going to be unicorn farts and butterfly piss because they'll automatically be happy because that's perfect love, unlike messy heterosexual love. I mean, you see, like I said, there is now. As I was watching all of this, I wasn't raging out. Some of you guys in the chat and other people I've
I
seen
was.
raging. I was just kind of sitting there going, roll my eyes, going, no, please don't, no. And when I was done, my initial response was, okay, I'm putting it one level below meh. So because it's just
I'm
I
putting it one level above Rings of Power.
uh,
I think you and I had very different experiences. I was angry. Like
uh,
the Mad Mardigan stuff and the undoing the original Willow had me actually upset,
mm.
angry.
Yeah, see, that didn't trigger me. I was just I think what triggered me the most was the bad dialogue and the vernacular. That's what was
Yeah,
bugging me the most.
that was really bad. And then
Because
the costuming, the weapons,
yeah, the bad
choreography, the editing.
choreography. Yeah,
I don't know if
yeah.
you noticed, but Kit, she has a bow and arrows, right?
Never
And
use it.
yeah, she never uses it, but as we mentioned in a trailer breakdown, she has plastic notches on the end of her arrows.
Yeah,
But I noticed she carries 4 arrows,
I didn't count
all
them.
divided really far apart. She has 4 arrows in her quiver, and they got like individual quivers on her back. It is the
Hmm.
weirdest fucking thing. And they're like just rigid 4 in actual made slots. You can't carry more than 4 arrows from the way it was set up. It's like, why would you make a quiver like that?
Uh, and
The leather all was plastic.
they had a brief significance of her taking her mother's serrated sword, and it's like, okay, I mean,
And they took away Sorsha's badassery, like
she
to make
saves
it.
her and then probably gets her ass
No,
kicked. Yeah.
yeah, that, but also like by making Jade be the first one ever, they take away the fact that Sorsha was so badass in the first movie, and so they're not only degrading Mad Mardigan's character in this show, they're degrading Source's by making Jade feel like this groundbreaker, glass ceiling shatterer. So, and then Willow's degraded every opportunity. It's like every single original character is getting degraded in one way or another, even if it's unintentionally so in the case of Sorsha.
Yeah. Yeah. And meanwhile, we have to mention they're being pursued by converted, once loyal guardsmen. They've been poisoned by the Crone's
That
henchmen.
was just weird. I don't
It's
really
just,
have it
I
dense.
mean, one guy he's been converted, and then he attacked another one and converted him. I guess they had converted the other two, and now they're
Hmm.
serving this kind of mutilated seer dude who's serving the crone. And they're hunting them. And at the end of episode 2, they grab Alordan, and after she got her plant to grow, she finally made the magic work. But
Which I think it would have been more powerful if it had worked after her conversation with the prince versus after she
which it
screamed it
looked
as
like
she was
it
getting
did.
kidnapped.
That was the thing. It looked like it had, and then they cut away, and then we cut back the next morning, and she's just sleeping with her hand on the dirt. And I was like, oh, because the look on her face was it was look of, oh, it's growing,
hopeful.
and but then nothing was there. I thought, and
yeah, they do that a lot, like the premature cutting away. Like one that really stood out to me is when they were leaving the castle. The cut to that scene was just so abrupt, like in the middle of someone saying something, and all of a sudden you were looking at Freckled Jesus, and he's like, no, finish the scene we had. Actually, finishes. They don't finish any scenes. They
no,
suddenly, oh, I guess the scene's over.
no, they
The
don't.
editing, like even Rings of Power, I rarely mention the editing because I'm aware of it, but it doesn't always affect me. It's normally the writing that affects me more. But this editing was so bad.
It was worse in episode 1. It was worse in episode 1. Episode 2, it was a little better. I didn't notice much, but I really noticed in episode 1. But in the end, I guess I'm not so freaking out because I didn't go into this expecting much more than what I got just now. You know, I didn't get my hopes up. I didn't. You remember, I didn't ever in all previous conversations. I said here are some flags. Here are no flags. This is kind of we'll see. But in the end, oh, it's about it. It's about where I expected.
Really,
I mean, for me, it's about where I expected.
I think I went into this with lower expectations than you, and it was a lot worse than I thought it was going to be.
Well,
I also thought it was just going to be like inoffensively bad. Like I watched it, I'm going to like a Batwoman type bad, like ironically funny bad fantasy, but it was getting like Rings of Power level insufferable for me.
Yeah, see, I was trying. I guess again, maybe because I'm numb from the bullshit I went through today, that I didn't have enough passion or emotion to really get worked up. I mean, that's maybe one way I can say it. But as each thing happened, I was just kind of, yep, okay, meh, okay, and then the whole, which is why I feel like I was looking at it from a sort of detached perspective, where again I could see elements that could work if handled properly. That somewhere in there is a real story that could be told. It's just John Kasdan can't do it as showrunner. Clearly is not a writer in the first episode, and people directing this can't really get it right. So in the end, I don't recommend wasting anybody. I don't recommend anybody waste their time. I mean, I said, is it meh or re? It's not re, but it's under meh for me. So I'm not even. Right at this point, I'm probably not going to waste my time. I might go back when it's all over just to see where it ended up, and that might be it. But I feel like I don't need to waste my time with this.
I'm not going to continue either. I definitely think it was re.
Okay.
But yeah, like I don't get anything out of it. There's not enough interest online. This isn't a Rings of Power situation.
No, it isn't.
Me investing in it, but I can't continue. It was that.
There's no reason to continue. I mean, I'm not worked up enough. I just got
through Rings of Power. My mental health can't handle another Rings of Power this soon. I'd figure I'd have another year before I watch another Rings of Power level show. I can't do one a month later.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I'm not angry enough to rant about it, but I'm not interested enough to even see where it goes on a weekly basis now for however many episodes there are. Again, I didn't have time. I was fighting with this laptop all day to bang it into some sort of usable shape for tonight, so I didn't do any extra research on this. But I say skip. I mean, frankly, the interaction we're getting tonight is probably the most we can get out of this.
Yeah.
I mean, the chat is totally. I mean, everybody's a lot more negative than I am on this. I mean, I bet you guys were thinking I was going to be like rage beast on this, but everybody's been way more negative than I have, and maybe it's because I expected it a certain way. But it's not even worth raging. It's not even worth raging over at this
Now,
point.
I would agree. Like, it doesn't deserve it. Like, Rings of Power after
Well, that
everything.
deserved it.
Like,
That was here's
yeah.
Drinks of Power is a direct assault.
Hmm.
This was somebody's lame ass attempt to build on some nostalgia and try and resurrect something that didn't need to be resurrected.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely agree. It does not deserve rage. It does not deserve attention. That's why I'm not going to make any
No,
videos about it.
this is it.
I'm not going to continue to review. It just doesn't
When,
deserve it. It's awful. Yeah,
yeah,
we're done.
it's meh, it's meh bad meh. It's again, I'm gonna remember it. Again, I will probably on my own time check it out, and then in passing, I will mention at the very end how it played out in this first season. Now, I don't think this gets another season.
I sure as hell hope not.
I don't thinking I don't know how it possibly can because I don't we were talking about this the other day, you and I, how on Monday, yeah, Monday, how this thing probably doesn't even rate in their stupid minutes watch metrics. It's not even going to rate that.
No, it's not going to hit the Nielsen's.
No,
I
it's not.
can guarantee that.
So with Disney's already hemorrhaging, bleeding, suffering mortal wounds of loss of financial prospects all over the place, this doesn't help anything. This is not going to bring subscribers to Disney Plus. It's not going to bring fresh advertisers to Disney. It's not. There's no merch line coming out of this. There's no
No,
merch line.
no, hell no.
So
There's
I
no
mean,
one interesting enough to get action figures out of.
there's no
But
game. There's no
I,
video
I think
game.
you're obviously missing something, Adam. You're clearly just in denial and coping. The U.S. government is going to pay for season 2.
I almost made a joke I can't make over that certain individual that we're all learning about now from the suitcase. I almost made a joke I can't make. I'll get in real trouble for that right now. But yeah, so I don't see. I think that this will be memory hold. You know what I'm actually interested in now? Reading the books that I just heard about.
Yeah, I had no idea. I'm interested as well because hopefully they have some lore that could expound
Because
on what
I'd
we had
much
in the
rather,
original.
because you guys know I'll take book as continued canon over something a bad television every day. And again, final verdict. We talked about this. I don't know if we talked about it on camera on Monday. We might have talked about it afterwards. But this is one of those situations, much the same as Star Wars, where you can go, if George was not involved in any way, shape, or form of this, how legitimate can this be? If the man who created this nice little tiny world that really, as we said in our discussion 2 weeks ago, not a very deep world, not a very broad world, but a nice little light high fantasy adventure where you can just get your head around and have a good time. If George wasn't involved in this to broaden it, how legitimate can it be? And therefore, can I say it's illegitimate? Can I say, okay, it's just more Disney bullshit? John Kasdan is not his father. He is not Lawrence Kasdan in any way, shape, or form. That's official now.
I think that a distinction needs to be made between having the rights to do something and having the right to do something.
Exactly.
There's a moral and legal difference between the two. Lucasfilm obviously has the rights to make this canon, but they don't have the right to do it without the go-ahead of George Lucas and Ron Howard and Steven Spielberg. Not Spielberg.
Yeah, Spielberg had nothing to do with this. But again, we said Ron Howard is executive producer. I wonder how much he had to do with this. Did he just say, "Yeah, can put my name on there. Give me my paycheck. Give me my cut"? I wonder how much he had to do with this. Because despite Ron Howard being a nutter like everybody else, he was a good director once upon a time.
Mm-hmm.
So and
yeah, he made some good stuff back in the day. Yeah. But as Tranquil Water said, this doesn't ruin the original, mainly because it doesn't have George's approval, just like the Disney trilogy. If it were canon, like head canon, it would absolutely do it for me. Ruin it because of how it undoes the ending immediately and insults Madmartigan. That's enough for me.
And also, no Val Kilmer.
No Val Kilmer. Yeah, as much as we love Willow, Madmartigan's the heart of that movie.
Yeah, because he's like the hero. He gets it done. So there's enough involved in this that, much as I always say, you can divide real Star Wars and Disney Star Wars and say, okay, yeah, this isn't real. This at this point, I can easily, I think I can give I give permission. I give permission to remember where the camera is right now. I give permission to disavow and memory hold this because George wasn't involved. It just says based on characters. At one point, it says based on the characters created by George Lucas.
It says based on the characters of George Lucas's, as the Cocaine Bear movie is based on true events.
I just heard that. What the hell is that? I just saw that. What is that?
So there's a trailer that came out today. That's why people are talking about it.
Yeah.
But it's a true story. This bear got hyped up on cocaine and went crazy. And like nothing really super bad happened, so it's okay to joke about what the bear did. But they're making a movie, and it's like a comedy horror movie with the bear as a killer. And the trailer came out, and it is so fucking dumb. I love it. I'm gonna watch it just because the bear is doing some insane stuff. Like these people, they run up a bunch of trees to hide from the bear, and they're arguing about whether or not bears can climb trees. And then one guy realizes that he has cocaine all over him, so the bear tracks him through the wood and climbs the tree after him because he has cocaine on him. It's a junkie now. So yeah, this is much. It's as canonical as the Cocaine Bear is to reality.
Yeah, so I'm willing to. I'm with you. I can still watch the original movie, and now I actually want to find those books. I want to find those books.
I had no idea that there were apparently 3. He said
3. Yeah, Speedy said there were 3.
I'd be interested to see that.
Yeah, I mean, and actually, then maybe you know what? We should get our hands on them, read them, and then talk about them.
That would be
interesting. We should
interesting.
do that, and see if they are, if we can say, yeah, this is a better continuation. People are showing up now as we're winding down. Well, you could go back and watch it, and I am going to re-upload this tomorrow morning. I'm going to bring it down around midnight, and I'll re-upload it tomorrow because I need to find good ways to feed the algorithmic beast while I can't make, while I have, as I scramble to make videos the remainder of the week.
Yeah.
Because once I get to the weekend, I'll be fine. We stream all weekend anyway. Yeah. But for the next couple of days, I got to do something to get videos up.
I would at least recommend reading John Kasdan's interview because it is.
Do I want
every
to?
Single point. Like he brings up racism, sexism.
All right, here's the thing. We'll talk about it on Sunday.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll do it on Sunday. I'm in a bad mood. This show didn't put me. I was in already a bad mood today because of my computer. I don't want to read that and get pissed off. I need to. I mean, this laptop has none of my stuff on it. Unfortunately, I've got a nice little PS5 here. I got a. You can see I got a rack of movies I can watch. I'll entertain myself tonight. But we'll. I'm not doing a natural 20. I don't want to do a natural 20. It's 8:30. I'm tired, dude. I'm tired. I've had a long ass day. I'm exhausted. I called you. You know how tired I am. You heard how tired I was when this shit went down. I mean, don't do natural 20. Should I do a natural 20? Should we end this and do a natural 20? Should we just end this and go into a natural 20 and rant about shit on the day? God damn it. All right.
If you can get Lady B to come on, I'll stay. But otherwise, I have birthday to do. I'm willing to spend my birthday with Lady B.
I don't have Discord on this. I can't send the link out, or I can't put the public link out. You guys got to give me another day to set everything properly back up on this laptop. It needs to be updated. I need to do a lot of things to this laptop, and I had TeamSpeak on this. There was still TeamSpeak on this laptop when I fired it up. I mean, this is my mom's laptop. It used to be my laptop. I gave it to my mom, so I got it from her today so I can do this shit. And it's like, it was.
Lady B is willing to jump on.
All right, guys. Give me 20 minutes to settle down. Natural 20 in 20 minutes. I'll find an old thumbnail to throw up there, I guess. I don't know. All right, guys. This is the end of our Willow breakdown. In the end,
rate it?
Why? I gave it a
Why?
one. I give it a 1 below Met. That's the rating. It doesn't even merit numbers because it's not done
It
yet.
doesn't.
If it was a one, if it was a binge, then we could give it
Yeah.
a number rating from beginning to end. But at this point, I just say I give it a 1 below Meh, and you
I
gave it
like how you
1
said it
above Rings
doesn't
of Power
deserve a rating.
because it's
I
not
feel that.
complete because it's not complete. That's my reasoning. It's not complete. It's just what it is. These 2
I just
episodes.
think it's so bad it doesn't deserve a rating.
Yeah. All right, guys. If you're watching live, we're gonna go. Give me about 20 minutes to reorient myself and and fight with this stuff and reset up for natural 20. Jed, you're welcome. Come here. I will. Um,
If you need help,
I'll,
I can produce
I'll
the stream
you
for
know
you.
here's what I'll do. I'll email
Engineer.
the link. I'm gonna email the link to Mustang, and he can put it in the StreamYard section of the Discord, and then everybody will get in that way. So, thank you for watching this tonight with us, guys. Don't suffer this. It's not worth your time. It's not. It's not even. I'm not even worthy. Feeling. I'm not even getting raged over it, and I don't think we should get angry over it. Just let it. You let it get memory hold. It's going to run its course, and it'll disappear. So, thanks again, everybody. I'll see you in a little bit. If you're going to move over to natural 20, give me about 20 minutes to get it set up, and we'll be back. Thank you, Jed, for being here. And if you're going to make it over, I'll see you in about 20 minutes. So let me roll us out of here on the banner. So see you guys a little bit. Bye, everybody. Come on, work. It's not working, Jed. It's not working. It's just
It's a good
us
thing
here.
I didn't say the gamer word.
Yeah, it's not us. I guess because why isn't the banner coming up? What the hell? There. Oh, God damn it. There it is. Son of a bitch. I'm out. We're gone.